I definitely won't race out of bed because the day is like long enough as it is, I think, leading into a game. So I take it pretty handy in the morning. I feel like on game day, I don't know about you, Connor, but everything's just like based around your meals. You always just feel like you're waiting to eat and then trying to kill time in between. So like we would have meals and meetings, and then for me I'd try and just like do as little as possible. Like I'd try and have a nap or just like literally lie in bed, read, and try and just prevent yourself from wasting kind of mental energy, physical energy. I've noticed from wearing my Whoop like on game days that my strain can get pretty high before I've done anything. Like and it's so frustrating. You're like, I haven't done anything, but you've obviously just been tense, and it's actually so interesting to see the impact that like has, because you think you're just sitting around doing nothing, and your strain is high going into the game.
I try to chill out as much as I can because you've done all your prep and you're thinking during the week, and that's just a day for relaxing and before the storm. And as Lena alluded to, you can waste energy, nervous energy, by just thinking about the game or chatting about the game or everything else. So the more time you can spend doing nothing or in company of good friends who are happy to just sit and chat about things other than the game, I think that's helpful as well. So yeah, I keep it pretty simple. The likes of Lena talk about primers there. Sometimes if the body's feeling good, we'll do that maybe the day before. But because our training load can be high during the week, then usually a bit stiff and sore. But once we arrive to stadiums, I definitely get a ball in my hands and try and get a ball in my hands during the day too, just to get it off a wall and back, and a bit of soloing up and down the corridors or something. Just something to keep you moving with the ball in hand while it's also not overthinking. And yeah, I think the more you can relax and just remember sometimes it is just a game, and go and enjoy it, because we hype it up way too much sometimes on the preparation, and I know I went out and underperformed because of that. So around this year, relaxing was the best thing for me.
And I'd like to try and keep my mind as busy as possible, obviously without expanding too much energy. So something I would have used in over this year, I introduced it, was Sudokus. So I don't know, it's whatever it is with them, I find they keep you active in terms of mentally. Your mind can't drift from them. So let's just say if you're listening to music or you're watching something on Netflix, I find my mind still drifts back to the game and different things within the game. Whereas Sudoku does take a bit more concentration. So that's something I would use in a few hours before the game and on the bus to the game.
You see some people need to be really riled up. You can barely speak to them the day of a game because they're so fired up. And I think rugby is different because it is kind of a physical confrontation. So that would rattle you a little bit. But for me, I need to be relaxed. I need to be relaxed and just treat it as some people try and treat games as training days, and that's probably me in the way of being relaxed and trying to enjoy it all. I think, it comes with experience. For years, I probably put a lot of pressure on myself, and yeah, it worked, but it was just, it becomes too much. You have to enjoy these days. They're not cringy, but you've worked really hard during the week and your whole career for the days in front of the crowds, and that's when they should see the best version of yourself. So in the last years, it's probably turned into more of an excitement for me.
Like, I'd be similar to Connor. I think knowing you've done your preparation and your analysis, and whether it's individual clips of who you're going to be up against, you've done all that prep during the week, you should go into it feeling relaxed. I tend to now stay off my phone a lot on game day. Like, don't be flicking through Instagram or Twitter. I feel like that kind of drains me a lot too. And weirdly enough, Sky Sports News, I kind of turn that off too, because I'm just like, I need to be mind clear. I put on a bit of Friends. I'm a big Friends fan. Stuff goes on in the background, whether I'm in a hotel or even at home. But yeah, honestly, I'd probably be very similar to Conor in a sense of just being relaxed. I know I've done the preparation midweek, and yeah, it's all about enjoying it. Then going out with your mates essentially to perform and to work on what you've worked on in training all week.
We would, have our team meeting. The team would be called out. Anything that we need to do on that day, tactics wise, would be kind of. The team would be informed of that, and at that stage I'd always find my heart kind of racing, and that's not something that I would like. I prefer if I was as calm as I could, but I've definitely found that over the last couple of times. So kind of done a bit of box breathing then, as a technique I was introduced to this year, just to get the heart rate down. I'd sit down then and I'd just kind of do a thought download, so how I'm feeling, what I'm thinking about. And then I suppose a lot of that thought download would be kind of naturally negative thoughts, like what if I don't play well, or, what if this happens, or what if that happens. So we had a psychologist in with us this year, Emer, and she helped us kind of, do your thought download, but then reevaluate the situation. So like, what if I don't play well? You kind of reframe that thought as I have all of the tools to play well, and I've prepared really well to play well. So I would do that and put the notebook away then, be on the bus to the game, and then you're in the dressing room, and then I suppose just from my perspective, if anyone saw me before a match they'd think I was going to fall asleep. I like to keep it as relaxed as possible. In the warm-up I barely move. I do as little as possible, just trying to keep my heart rate down, my body as relaxed as possible. And as a player I personally don't like to switch on until the ball is thrown in. So I like to keep it as relaxed as possible until that point. So if you ever see me in a warm-up, I'm not lazy, and it's not that I don't want to be there. I just kind of try to keep it as relaxed as I possibly can.
I think it's a bit different for us because obviously, like, it's such a short, it's like a way shorter amount of time. So we have to make sure that like we're nearly primed for it. So we actually do a little. We call it a piece, like a little 4-minute kind of interval, close enough to pace, to kind of get our bodies primed to perform. And then we just, the rest of the warm-up would be kind of flushing out all that lactate from that piece, and then doing a few short, maybe like 20-second sprints. It's pretty much all about getting the body primed, but that's that only takes about 40 minutes. So we'd be on the water maybe, I'd say 45 minutes max before the race. It's it's different from time to time. In Tokyo, we had to do that piece on land in the air conditioning just because it was too hot outside. So we did that with ice vests on on rowing machines. We probably looked a bit mental, but that was what it was like in Tokyo.
I remember going in for the soup and there'd be bread rolls and different things, things like bread rolls there, French bread. That's the last thing your gut wants going into a game, because it's pure crap. No harm to people who make that stuff, but it's going to say affect your gut in terms of how that you want something to go through your system very, very easily and just give you the wee takeover you want. You know what I mean? Basic meal, you could have a small bit of chicken and spot, or like a bit of scrambled egg, brown bread toast, anything simple like that, a bit of fruit like a banana, and just sipped in a bit of the right juice. Like that was the perfect thing. So if you're in a hotel, you're around what the team were eating, and if you're at home then, depending where you were. See, this was another thing about Donegal, we still went from Donegal town. So when you think about it, like I would go from Letterkenny, we'd meet up in Letterkenny, be a certain time frame around that, not messing about, but boys might be in the shop in and out. You'd head to Donegal town then, you'd get down then a wee bit earlier. If it was me who was driving, we'd probably just about make time. I wasn't an early bird by any stretch of imagination. I'd always be bombing it. These places still do that. But we'd come to Donegal town, then you have to wait about there, but then you'd drive over to Clones, say for big games, for example. So there's a lot of waiting about. That's a big drag, Letterkenny, Donegal town, get on a bus and say that's the bumpiest road in Ireland, I'd say, that bloody road. So none of them things was good to you leading up to Clones. I never liked Clones side. It was just something about the place, maybe a bit bad memories because of our Armagh boys, but depending where you were, if you're in Ballybofey and it was straightforward, championship games again. You know, it just all depended on the timing of it. Like, you know, the earlier the better. Probably waiting about was never a good thing. And there was a wild tension in the, but all those small things that I was talking about, the food and the different things, all them was putting tension on you. You know, you there was tension building all the time. Looking back at it, like peel it back,